Well, good afternoon and welcome to Ed's Orchids. Now this is only going to be quite a short video about Phragmipediums. Now I've done this before on many occasions, but I get a few new subscribers keep asking me to tell them how I keep my Phragmipediums. So I propose to do that just now. I mean, over the years, I've kept Phragmipediums in different ways altogether. You know, a lot of people suggest keeping them in this and keeping them in that and giving them this temperature and giving them that temperature. But this year, I think I've had my best year for Phragmipediums. And I'll tell you what I do. A lot of people consider these very difficult to grow. So we'll go through all the things that I do with them, and we'll see if we can come to any sort of conclusion of what they should do, what you shouldn't do with them, and I don't know what I've done this year to make them grow as good as they can. I mean, I've got a few on the table here. I must have cut 10 to 15 blooms off up to now. Well, I haven't cut them off, they've dropped off. But I've still got quite a few. Excuse me, I've still got quite a few in spike that I'll show you later. So what are we to talk about first? Well, how about the growing medium? Well, if you get, or if you buy in a Phragmipedium, it's 10 to 1, it'll come in either rock wool or in bark. Now, all mine are planted in bark with a little bit of grow stones in it, and if I haven't got enough grow stones, a bit of limestone chippings, you know, to put a little bit of calcium in the medium. Now that's all they need. You don't need to go for all sorts of different things. They will manage quite well with a medium bark and a bit of calcium and nothing else. Right? A lot of people, including very good growers like the Eric Young Orchid Foundation, grow in rock wool. Now, rock wool I don't use, simply because, well, the Eric Young Foundation, it's not exactly rock wool. It's like small chopped up pieces of wool, but it's not rock wool as we know it in those cubes. And well, they grow very well on them, as you know. But I don't like rock wool for a simple reason. If you're feeding them, they're very difficult to flush, because the rock wool will take in all the salts and stuff like that. And to get rid of them, you'd have to give them many flushes with Epsom salts. Yeah, I've grown these in many different types of media. As I say, in bark, medium bark, small bark, large bark, sphagnum moss. Now sphagnum moss, I wouldn't put them anywhere near Phragmipediums, because if you put them in sphagnum moss, what happens over time, the sphagnum moss will compact. It'll go acidy, but it will compact and cut off the air supply to the plants. So don't use sphagnum moss. What else have I used? I've used rock wool, not rock wool. I've used pebbles. Anything you want to put them in, they'll grow in, providing it's a medium that is light and it lets all the water run through as you're watering them. Now, as regards watering, Phragmipediums do not need what most orchids need, which is a wet and a dry state of affairs, if you know what I mean. Water them, let them go dry. And Phragmipediums don't need that. They want to be wet, and I mean really wet, all the time. Never let them go dry, because if you let them grow dry, the roots will die. The roots love water. They love good, clean water, and that's why I use RO, reverse osmosis. They like a nice, decent light, good light. Don't need as much as Cattleyas, or I mean even the light of Phragmipediums will do for them. It'll be fine. They're not fussy at all. Now, as for feeding these, it's a question that's open to debate, and there's a million ways of doing it. I can only tell you the way I do it. I know people and growers, which I do know, grow them with a TDS rate of getting up to 1,000 parts per million, you know, and that to me is far too much. You see, I feed mine twice a year only, in November and in May, with fish, blood and bone. Just a teaspoon sprinkled over the top of the compost and then watered in. And I always water from the top of the pots. I never water and let the leaves get wet. After I've fed them, then I just water them in winter three times a week with RO water, just flush through them. And I've noticed, and I've done it this summer, I put them on a drip system where it was dripping round about 2 drips per second into every pot, and it was on 24 hours a day all summer. And I've had a most fantastic bloom year for Phragmipediums. So I think there's a lot to be said for that. The only trouble why I'm not on it now is that my tap water comes from the house and it goes underground, but not that much underground. So I think in winter, when it gets very, very cold, what will happen, the water will freeze and I won't be able to get the water to put through the RO system. So I've taken it off that until we get back to the warmer weather, and then I'll put it back under. Now, some growers say that the long-petalled varieties, such as this Grande, are warmer growers and need more light. But I treat mine all the same. The short-petaled one here is a Kavakii hybrid. That gets treated exactly the same, gets the same light and everything. This is a warscewiczianum. A Richterii. Come across here. And this is a big plant. It's standing about 5 feet tall, which is a cross between Kavakii and Sargentianum. We've got another one here, which is a Cardinale in spike. These are absolutely gorgeous, these. One of my favourite Phragmipediums. If you can get them, a good clone of them, they're absolutely beautiful. Not a really big flower, but a nice big pouch on them that's a beautiful dark pink colour. Absolutely beautiful they are. Now this is another Kavakii hybrid, which is Fritz Schonberg. Now this is a cross between Kavakii and Besai. Now if you've got plants that, excuse me, that have got Besai in them, or you've got a natural form of Besai, then Besai are a sort of a crawling plant. They will cling to anything, grow out of the pot, and the best way, if you've got one of these, is to try and set a system up for the Besai with, I would think, a moss pole actually in the pot, and then you can put a wire sheeting round it to fill it full of moss, so the Besai can climb up the pole virtually. So that's one way of doing. Now this Fritz Schonberg, quite a big plant, that'll grow a lot more, that spike. And as I said before, it's a cross between Cavacii and Bessi, and it's been crossed back to Bessi. And when you cross it back to Bessi, you get a much smaller plant with better leaves, better petals. You know, they're quite uniform, not turning back and everything, because that's a big fault with the Cavacii. The petals always start reflexing, and in a lot of their hybrids they do exactly the same thing, which is quite annoying. You suddenly get a beautiful flower when it comes out of the bud, and in 2 days' time the petals at the sides there just curl back towards themselves. Real menace at it. I think the only thing I've missed out telling you is that the plants like high humidity, and the temperature ranges, well, I set my thermostat at 12 in the greenhouse for winter time, and I came in this morning, it was 10.7, so in certain places, but that's normal, but I set it at 12 and hope it doesn't go any lower than that, and it can go as high as it wants to in summer, so I just leave that to the weather. But I do come in the morning and turn the thermostat up to 20, but I don't go any higher than that. Well, the only thing I can say to you now is thank you very much for watching. I hope I've explained something. I know I'm not very good at it, but I do the best I can. And thank you to all my subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet, I wish you would do so. And until next time, I'll see you all later. Bye.